The opinion or details I'm discussing here are not of City of Milwaukee Health Department or any government or private entities. It's everything is from my own words, and it's my personal and personal opinion.
Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researchers Celebrity. Today we have Dr. Arun with us, and a brief introduction, because that's the only I can do for now, because if I'll start introducing him, then it might take over all the 30 minutes, because Dr. Arun has done his PhD. He earned his PhD from dual MS University of India and Abu Academy in Finland, after which he joined Indian Institute of Sciences in India, and then he moved to CDC, which I'm sure everybody knows now, Center for Disease Control and Prevention in USA. Then he joined Stanford University, and then he moved on again to University of California, Irvine. Then he joined Tata Institute for Genetics and Society, moved back to India, and then now he is working in capacity of bioinformatician in Department of Health in city of Milwaukee. So Dr. Arun has earned a lot of name and fame nationally and internationally, and that's what makes him a researcher celebrity for us. And by the end of this conversation, I believe all of you will be agreeing with me. And with this small brief, I would like to welcome Dr. Arun with us, and let's welcome Dr. Arun.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raja, for the warm and wonderful introduction.
Yeah, so let's have the conversation going on. How you ended up, or how you initiated picked research as one of your goal, or was it a first love at sight? What do you believe? And if you would like to share your initial experience or your interest in research.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. That every scientist has their own story. That each story can be varied based on their experience and the situation where they are in. For me, that during my undergraduate, we did the group project. So that time, I got to know what the project is and how we need to do. And that was a simple project, but still, it gave an kind of initiation, and it gave some idea. Then during my master's, I did my master project at University of Madras, where the department of crystallography and biophysics is a very old and most popular department in the university. And I got a wonderful opportunity to interact with the many PhD scholars and the postdocs in the department. I came to know there's a lot of PhD students in the department. After their PhD, most of them, they get the position in the Western worlds, like either in Europe or in US. So I was surprised about all those things, and I started discussing about how you got into that kind of position, and what's the procedure, and I was started discussing about all those things. It just my kind of self motivation, or I really inspired by many of the scholars. So they told me that they require the PhD, and it is a kind of postdoctoral position. So I got to know all those things during my master project only. Then that time, during my 3 months of stay in Madras University, I inspired a lot. Then I decided that I wanted to do a research, and I wanted to become a scientist in this field. So since my master's and MPhil in bioinformatics, I wanted to go with that. I want to take that path. That's a wonderful, field. I wanted to continue my research in this area. So that's how, I started thinking about the research.
Okay. Yeah. So that's how you started you entered in the field of research. Yes. And you chose to do PhD. Then what were the forces which kept you, because for all of my audiences, we would like to tell you that within a short span of like, in field, when we say research, it is a short span, it is just a decade, because for a person, a normal person, decade is like 10 years, but for a researcher, it can be just 10 years. And in small span of this a decade, over like Dr. Arun has published tons of papers. He has been awarded for his research, and he is the one who's actually reviewing people's work and letting them publish, giving them suggestions. So, how, like, what are the things which you feel that are the most exciting or fascinating things about research when you are doing your research, as well as you are uh, putting a check on the research which is happening all around the globe?
So the exciting part of the research, so I can start from my research, my own project and the collaborative project first. Uh, whenever we face a problem, in any kind of, the public health issues, so we take it as a serious issues, and we started, addressing or started giving the solution to that problem through the research. So since mine is purely the bioinformatics research, now I started collaborating with many experimentalists. So for instance, initially during my PhD project, so when I started my PhD, so that time the influenza A H1N1 virus that caused the pandemic outbreak worldwide. So that was a serious public health issues. So I have taken that problem and addressed that problem in my PhD thesis. For instance, I have discovered how the virus evolved based on the genomic sequences, and also identified the codon sites which can be used by the virus in order to escape from the human immunity as well as the drugs. So those are the very key findings. So that was my PhD thesis. So then after my thesis, I started my first postdoc in Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, where I joined their interdisciplinary lab, where we have the immunologist, bacteriologist, virologist, and finally I'm the bioinformatician. So we started discussing and developing a lot of problems. So that time, my project is completely focused on the tuberculosis. So you all know that India is almost in the top list for the tuberculosis. So we were the first team started thinking about analyzing the entire or the whole genome of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis collected from the southern region of the India, and we started looking at the epitopes in it. So particularly we are interested in T-cell epitopes evolution. So what's happening, how the bacterium is making a lot of mutation in the epitope, the T-cell epitope in it, and in order to escape from the human immunity. So that was a wonderful research, and that brought me the ISID New Investigator Award from the uh, International Society for Infectious Diseases. So that's how we started thinking about the question how we wanted to systematically address the different kind of the ongoing problems. So I can give you another wonderful example. Uh, we all know we are in the pandemic world right now. Yes, of COVID-19. So when I was at UC Irvine in the early 2020, that we started hearing a lot about the current COVID-19, and this is many people are got infected, and few started dying in China. And myself and my collaborator from UCLA, we started discussing about this project. So he is a wonderful virologist and stem cell biologist, and we are collaborating since 2014, and we both produce a lot of result, and we got really good papers in some nature group journals and cell group journals as well. And we together worked and initially reported the evolution of this coronavirus in early 2020. So that got cited by is almost 80 times that paper got cited. That's still in the bioarchive, and we started developing or designing a lot of experiments, and I always provide my input to the experimental people and the experimental scientists. As a bench scientist, they always get the opinion from me. So that's how we develop the idea. So you always think that either the science or nature or cell paper, you see that multiple expertise, you can find this, it will come up with many number of authors, and each one from the different expertise. And so that's how they are making the very big project, and that have wonderful impact in the society, as well as is good for the public health as well. So that's how it's teamwork is important. Even though you do a lot of independent work, so the teamwork is very important, and the continuous discussion and the collaboration are the keys.
So, following up your contribution to the health field, human health, either it be because you have worked with mosquitoes, you have published on ticks, you have published with bacteria, mycobacterium, and viruses. What is your thought that if a researcher or if a student who is a master's or a graduate student at this point of time, and they have seen this tough time of COVID, if they are planning to enter into the field of research, what are your uh, thoughts and suggestions about them, that how should they start thinking to enter research? And because I have seen that nowadays bioinformaticians have this nick that they can work with anything and everything, when compared to the wet biology people, which have so many constraints, either it be their experimental or it be biological material, sometimes it's not available. How do you what do you suggest them?
That's a wonderful question, Dr. Raja. So the early career researcher, or those who wanted to do their or choose their career as a scientist or become a researcher or the professor, whatever, in the academic field, first they have to choose that which field they wanted to actually do their research. For instance, some people, they are more interested in investigating the number of the plant species, or they wanted to work on the rice or something. So that's completely the different field in the research. And some people, they wanted to address a lot of question on the infectious disease field, and some people, they wanted to do work in the stem cell. There's a number of fields in the biology, and if somebody from the chemistry, physics, they have their own field and subfields and something like that. So they have to choose. It's not something you have to stick with only one field. You also need to concentrate on some field that are relevant to or partially overlap with your interest. So for instance, if you choose infectious disease, you also need to probably, I would say that, people may also look for the something related to the immunology side as well. Because people, whenever they work on the infectious disease pathogen, virus or bacteria, whatever it is, sometimes they, interlink those field with the immunology. So these are the some suggestion, right? So they can first choose which area they wanted to investigate, then started look for the position in India or in anywhere where they are actually wanted to be. So that's the first suggestion. And also then let them to read a lot of papers. That's a reprints. So it's not something the supervisor can assign some work to you and you can just do it, that thing. So the research is, as I told you before, you have to do it in two ways. One is a lot of independence. You have to independently think more things, and you also get enough advice from your supervisor. So that's how you need to develop your project. So you can do it in that way. read a lot of papers, particularly from the high impact factor journal like Science, Nature, or Nature Group paper, or Cell Group paper, and those kind of paper. Develop your own idea, and you see that what is going on in the field and how you need to frame your questions for your PhD. Something you have to think about those things as
Start with the impact factors, whereas we just want to start with like how important is the question and how irrelevant it is. So you just get the data, get it published, get done with your PhD, and then aim whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's how, that's always when we frame the question, that sometimes that the way you address a question and the experimental setup, everything is a matter, right? And what result you are going to get, and how important that problem in the current situation is. So many factors involved in it. So we can, give you a lot of, big list for that. So it doesn't matter, when you have wonderful research, wherever you feel that the suitable avenue, you publish it. Some paper may go into high impact factor journals, some may not, but still, you get your paper. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. So now you are established and you have done a lot of work in different parts of world. Would you like to share some challenges which you have faced at different so are there were there any challenges like coming from your family background or in the research when you moved first time out of India? So were there any kind of challenge which you faced and then you stood against all of them, and that is what we can see that you are a very established bioinformatician today?
Yeah, that's very important question. So um, each and everyone in the world has their own problem. So you cannot find a person, without any problem, right? So, but the problem are different completely. For instance, some has, very poor financial background. Some people, they have their family issues. Some people have the health issues. So, a lot of issues people have. But the world will look at only the successful people, that, but each successful person has a painful story, right? That's true. So, even for me, that I come across a lot of issues that during my undergraduate. Actually, I was working for, I did a part-time job. So in the night I was working for the telephone pole. So that time we didn't have the kind of, the cell phone and other thing. That time we use a proper telephone and other thing. Was working in the booth for the for part time to get some money. Then I used it for my studies, undergraduate studies. Then during my masters, I was actually at a hostel, and because it's a master, I need to spend a lot of time to get good score, and I wanted to be a topper in the class and wanted to learn a lot of things. Even after the college hours, I come to the hostel, just get refreshed and go back to the lab and work from 5 to 8 or 8:30. So because in that college, it's open till 8 or 8:30 in the laboratory. So I work, I do a lot of independent search, and that time, that I told you, right, during the master, I got to know about the research, and I got really a good interest in the field of research. So those kind of things, self motivation is very important. And each person has a lot of issues, so we have to overcome those issues. Don't think about and worry too much about those things. You need to think how to overcome that issue, and you have to fix your goal and walk towards that. I ran towards that actually, but I recommend people to walk or run. It depends on your caliber and ability. You have to do that things. So each person has a problem. So don't think about other thing. Oh, this guy, he's so happy and he doesn't have any problem. That's what he's so successful in a short span of time. Nothing like that. If he asks that person, and he has a 1 hour or 2 hour story for that. So it depends. So don't compare yourself with other people. Don't be an ordinary man, be an extraordinary man. Do groundbreaking and wonderful research. Or it's not only the research, whatever field you choose. If I'm a policeman, then really I will shine in the police field. If I'm going to be an engineer, then I will definitely shine well in the field. So it doesn't matter, each one have their own interest. So whatever field you choose, so shine well, work really hard, and achieve more.
Great. So all the researchers there. So you heard there is no shortcut for success. You have to work hard. As Dr. Arun just ran towards it. It is your choice. You want to run, fly, walk, or crawl, but never stop. So, Dr. Arun, we would like to thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. And if with your permission, can I tell our audience that if they want to contact you, they can contact directly you. They can find you on, like, you are like, Dr. Arun is widespread. You can find him in, probably not on social media a lot, but either it be LinkedIn or any other kind of scientific environment. You go and Dr. Arun, you'll find him there. So you can contact directly him. If you want, you can directly write to us, and then we can put you in contact with Dr. Arun. Thank you, Dr. Arun, for sharing your thing. And just few, if you have to say, like, although you have explained very well your journey and your thing, what are the two key points if you want to suggest our upcoming researchers, not only the one who are doing their PhD, the one who will join their PhD soon after a decade or so?
In general, there are two things I would like to suggest. The first one is, don't lose your hope. So because this field, we face a lot of failure in the field. For instance, when you apply for the postdoc position, if you apply for 40 applications, if you submit 40 applications, you will get 3 to 4 response, and most of them, they come with, sorry, we do not have sufficient funding to support you, or we are interested in your application, but we are waiting for the grant, something. So, you may get a lot of negative responses. So don't lose your hope. Keep trying, until you achieve your goal. That's the first thing. The second thing, you need to have the self-motivation. So self-motivation is very important. So whenever, you feel like, oh, I'm not getting anything, I'm not getting positive response, something, you don't expect somebody has to come and push you, hey, go and do that, man. Don't do that. That the self-motivation come from yourself, and you have to push yourself hard and do that one, and you will taste your success.